Just arrived here at the foot of Caburn and over near Gote farm. I've kind of gone just beyond it, but I'll show you all the lands. It's 222. I'll see you in a minute. Smooth moving, man. But yeah, hopefully I'll be able to take a slightly better video today. But I'm just walking up this really long path to get to this area. So once I get a little bit further out there and I can show you some of the fields and that are a part of Gote farm, I'll come back on and just talk about that a little bit. So I'll see you in a sec. So I've just got to this place. It's a great view here. So this is Gote farm. And that over there is Caburn. But what we've got here is there's this little farm building down here, there, and then over the next valley there's another farm building, and that is actual Gote farm, and then that comes into South Malling. And what we have is, I'm just going to explain. So we've got this charter of Athelstan from 930, I think, in Lifton, Devon. It's either Lifton or Lipton, but he is giving some land to a guy called Wulfgar, and it says go eastward from Ham, which is Hamsey. They have now, archaeologists have now decided that that's in Wiltshire sometime, but we know that Athelstan held a Gemot, the first Witan, at Hamsey Church, so it's much more likely to be this one. And the charter does not say in Wiltshire, Devon, it just says Ham, so he's really kind of like, that's just a complete assumption, and it's taken everything away from here, but it is here. So you get eastward from Ham, and then you go to the boundary of Beow's home, and the boundary is, what's interesting about that is that Beowulf is a Geat. The Geats are from, that what we've been told is they're from Sweden. I think they were from Goteland. I've just found out that Goteland has been owned by the Danes and the Swedes. They both took it separately. And I'm thinking Beowulf was a Dane, Wiglaf was a Swede, and they were both over here settling. Like I think their ancestors had already settled. Now we already know that Malling Hill, where it's like the other side of Caburn, gets its name from, very possibly from Ael or Mayala, but they're the first Saxons that came here and settled on these shores. It's kind of really important stuff. But yeah, he would have lived around here. There's a Geat means, Gote means Geat in Swedish. Gote with an E and 2 dots above the E means Geat. Beowulf was a Geat. Now this is another thing, is that they were called the Wedder Geats, W-E-D-E-R, and the Wedder Geats, people have thought that that just means weather Geats, which is kind of right, but it also means seasonal. And we all know that the seasons in Sweden and Denmark, and probably Goteland, is a lot more darkness, much harder to grow crops. So my guess is that they were coming here seasonally, and they'd settled and become a part of this land too. But they were coming here every season that the darkness set in, so that they could get, I mean, it seems strange now, bearing in mind England is constantly grey and raining, but it may be better than over there. Count your blessings. But yeah, they were coming here growing crops. Half the reason they came here was for food. The land here was much more suitable for that, and the Romans had left it all for them. Or they kind of incorporated themselves in. No one's quite sure whether it was just like a complete switch. Quite unlikely. And much more likely that they developed sort of together. The remains of the Roman peoples that lived here would have slowly kind of integrated with the Anglo-Saxons. This is my guess anyway. Seems like that happened. Maybe they warred against each other though. I don't think there's enough evidence to be absolutely certain. But for sure our bloodlines come from these guys. All of them. But yeah, this is one last thing on the Gote and the Geat and Beowulf is that the oldest map I could find is actually spelt goat, as in like a, you know, the creature. And I'm wondering though, coincidence is too strong, I'm wondering if the Gote was turned from goat, Gote, to goat, and now it's been flipped back again to Gote. So yeah, this is just a theory, but there's too much else that kind of goes along with the story, as you'll have seen in some of my other posts. And I've got some news from the archaeology people at Brighton who are being useless, utterly useless. So I've sent him another email, but I'll explain all of that. Jesus, muddy today. But anyway, I'm going to get up to this auditorium now and show you all of that. And this is such a lovely place, beautiful up here. Land of the Western Weddergeats. So we're just coming up to it now, and just for reference, the whole trackway that goes straight up to it, literally, it goes in a straight line to this place. Kind of makes sense as well. I want to know what other people have said about this, if anyone's even looked at it. So I can't find anything. This is where I believe, perhaps, a little kind of a auditorium or arena may have been. Obviously I have no idea. This is just a complete conjecture idea, imagining of mine. But have a look at it. I suppose it could have been a quarry, but this one's got all of the grass has come back on it. But the more you get into the centre here, the more you feel like you're completely surrounded by this sort of earth wall. But I can imagine speaking here to these people, you know, like everyone up on the benches up around here. And remember, the track comes directly to it. I've just lost my gimbal for some reason. So this is the area that I think could possibly have been some sort of auditorium or arena or something along those lines. I don't know. I'll show you with me in the centre in a second so you get some sort of rough idea. But there's the entrance in. And then, yeah, let me just show you me, if I can spin this round enough. Nope. Maybe the other way. There we go. So yeah, I don't know if you can see me, but perhaps, yeah, this is, I just came in here and immediately thought of Gladiator, that kind of early scene where he's over somewhere else in some sort of little arena, and he's like, are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here? That scene exactly came to mind. But I wonder, you know, it seems quite small for anything like that, but I wonder, possibly just somewhere where they spoke, possibly none of that at all. But these things really did come into my mind, and with the idea of Caburn just being over there with a massive Roman hill fort on it and all the Roman burials, they must have spoken somewhere, you know, like I suppose it could have been in the fort itself. But yeah, I mean, I suppose this could have been a quarry as well. No, they might have been mining something out of these walls. But yeah, then you've also got behind me here this like main gateway area in and up to Caburn. So I'll go over there and have a look as well. But yeah, I'd love to know if anyone knows what they think this might be. So over there in the distance is Mount Caburn. Camelot, as I like to call it. I like to imagine it anyway. One day, I think people are going to start honestly considering this as a true spot for the reality of where it all began. I don't know how many of you know about dandelions. There's a couple of videos just been popping up recently, but last year I was picking them, and then if you just cut the flowers off and pop them in a teapot, literally just get like, I don't know, a small handful, whack them in a teapot, pour some boiling water over it and drink that stuff. It's lovely. I don't know when, I think it was around the 15th century it got its name turned to Caburn. Hard to believe there aren't any references of it beyond or before then what that name was, but I can't find it. Here is the field where the I think 70 burials were found, and they, yeah, if you go onto Google Earth, you can look down on top of Caburn and you can almost see where the sites are where they were digging in these areas. They're sort of like the land looks different. It's quite incredible, really. And then yeah, they were all spread out across here. Romano-British, so literally of that period where the Romans and the Britons were kind of becoming the same people. And yeah, that's really important too, because it's like the sort of beginning and end of the Roman period would have occurred just here, especially when you consider this was by the shore. If you think this was by the shore, then they'd have had to have exited Britain when they did, the ones that did, at ports. And I think that one of those ports is Hamsey, Ipweinsfleet, but they were all along here. Simensora, the head shore, Macredesburn, which I think means the place to go and burn, which would sort of make sense in the Viking raid period. And I think Macredesburn may have been sort of at the foot of the cliff, and it would have come all the way through, I think, is it Waitrose or Marks and Spencer's at the bottom of Lewis Hill? I think that would have been the foot of the sea at one point, with the channels all riding out. And I've spoken to you before now, you know, I even know that that's true now because of the articles and the research that's been done and hidden. Yeah, we're coming up to Caburn now, a few people up there, nice to see it a bit busier. I want to see one day, for future reference, if anyone works this stuff out and I've proved right, I want people like Calandra and Danheim and Wardruna to come up here and play their music to all the ancestors and to everyone below one day. This would be the most epic place for a concert for those guys to be playing. Oh my god, that would be brilliant. You can get it all torch lit with a cool kind of procession route to go up to get there. You know, you get some golf buggies to help people out that can't, and then just set up this cool stage up here and play something awesome at the top of the world, in sort of memory of all of our pagan and Roman ancestors. Get all the appropriate music, everyone could dress up, have a hog roast. It would be so cool. I just like daydreamer, rather live in the past, I think, a lot of the time. Just going up to the signpost, so I just thought I'd see how unhelpful and full of, or lack full of information this sign will be. So let's have a look. The reserve is named after the Caburn, the Iron Age fort on the summit of the hill. Centuries of grazing resulted in the development of the Caburn slopes with a rich carpet of wild plants. No history. Oh, it's just an Iron Age fort. Yeah, just some Iron Age fort. Looking really lovely today. So let's head up here. This would have been the entry in from that pathway. How many people have come through here? Soaking their vibe. Probably been the main defence structure down there. And then we've got this second one here. And then the main area. Let's head up here. Load of flooding in the valley again. Very interesting today. The light is showing the water in the valley trying to kind of creep in incredibly well. Let's have a look. So you can imagine that whole area, there's the main Ouse River in its current state. If you imagine that whole valley down there,